Zing4Life goes beyond motivation or inspiration to liberation. It frees you to take the necessary action towards exceptionally great accomplishments and affords you to persist at it until it is fully accomplished. We have established that Zing4Life has the potential to get you and your people to become exceptionally brilliant, exceptionally creative, exceptionally productive, exceptionally healthy, exceptionally free, and so much more. And that, generally, it will help you to make your current goals and future aspirations better and even exceptional, and also get you to achieve your improved current goals and mega future aspirations easily and quickly. So what makes Zing4Life so amazing and very different? What makes it stand out the way it does? Zing4Life is the most extensively researched, very comprehensive, and the most logically structured body of principles, techniques, and strategies required for any human being to harness his or her true, inborn, or hidden potential, and thus achieve significantly or even exceptionally great accomplishments beyond what one could ordinarily consider possible, no matter the person's background and current circumstances. That is, irrespective of a person's age, gender, looks, financial resources, educational background, and so on. It is based on the work of a wide range of researchers across the world, and over several years. Each researcher spends an average of about 15 years on the work. Some spent as much as 25 years. And as part of the process, traits of several trailblazers were studied. Some of the most creative, productive, and effective people the world has ever seen, mostly inventors and pioneers. Also studied were some of the most confident and courageous persons, some of the most brilliant, some of the happiest people, some of the greatest leaders, some of the healthiest, some of the richest, and some of the most polite and morally upright people the world has ever seen. And the principles, techniques, and strategies are structured most logically because when it comes to getting to uncover and use one's true potential, it is like trying to open a bank vault in order to get to the gold stored in it. It's not that simple. It is like trying to fly a very huge aeroplane with all the so many controls to attend to, especially when there are so many obstacles all around. You definitely need a checklist. And all serious pilots fly with the guidance of checklists. Zing4Life is your checklist in the flight of life. And your Zing4Life checklist is made up of amazingly simple principles and practices, however, very powerful. They are the ideal soft skills a person needs in order to move up fast in education, business, career, and life as a whole. For that reason, employers prefer people who have Zing4Life, or at least aspects of it. And those who have Zing4Life, or aspects of Zing4Life, get promoted faster. And because the principles, techniques, and strategies are that simple, they are completed in a matter of weeks. Zing4Life is recommended for anyone and everyone. Indeed, the earlier a person gets Zing4Life, the better. So in a nutshell, or in summary, let us understand that though you were born to be great, you and your people underestimate your capabilities and use very little of your true potential, far less than 10%, and therefore you may go through avoidable struggles and regrets in life if you don't get the appropriate help. And the needed help is found in Zing4Life, the world's #1 resource for living a truly stress-free, exceptionally productive, and extremely fulfilling life. You will best appreciate the value of this when you get to know the real reason why we end up underestimating our capabilities in the first place, and thus end up using very little of our true potential. So how does it get to happen that we underestimate our capabilities and use very little of our true potential? How come? Well, it is as a result of our mainstream education. It is essentially partial in nature. The fact is, there is a big void in our mainstream education. Research shows that only 10% of the resources in the mainstream education is spent developing the aspects that contribute to 85% of a person's true effectiveness and greatness in life. In essence, what the mainstream educational system teaches is able to harness only 22% of people's true effectiveness and greatness in life. Indeed, majority of CEOs admit that their successful journeys to the top are not because of their academic achievements. In a particular survey that was carried out, apparently not even one of those top CEOs happened to have been among the top 2% of any class. This is the trend across the world, including Africa. It is therefore not surprising what the renowned economist Professor Sir William Arthur Lewis says about the mainstream educational system. He says that education and schooling are not the same thing. What goes on inside the schools are not always education, and the result may well be to reduce productive capacity rather than to increase it. A renowned neuroscientist, Professor Alan Snyder, the man who came up with the theory behind the optical fiber, also says, everybody has inner genius, but it is our perception, that is our education, that prevents us from tapping into this inner genius. The logical question then is, if what the mainstream educational system teaches is able to harness only 22% of people's true effectiveness and greatness in life, how can we harness the remaining 78% and get people to be truly or fully effective and truly great? Aha! Zing4Life. Zing4Life is made up of the right and complete set of actions required to tap and use your true, inborn or hidden potential. It is the result of a project that was undertaken to research and collate the ideal set of tools that would harness the 78% potential that the mainstream education ordinarily does not unearth, so as to complement the mainstream education in order to give us what we can term total education. And the 13 thematic areas were determined as the key functional results determinants required to harness that 78% potential that the mainstream education ordinarily does not unearth. It's therefore not surprising that majority of CEOs admit that their successful journeys to the top are not because of their academic achievements. They get to the top largely because they have aspects of Zing4Life which they acquire mainly outside the classroom. Zing4Life makes the difference. It explains why some individuals like Bill Gates, Steve Wozniak, the Wright brothers, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, etc. have been able to make such global impacts with their innovations, even though they did not go through extensive or lengthy formal education. That is not to downplay formal education. Formal education is relevant and indeed very important. However, formal education alone is not enough, and history is filled with examples of events that prove this. For instance, in the year 2011, computer game players who had aspects of Zing4Life accomplished in 10 days what expert scientists had been trying to do for almost 15 years without success. Another epic illustration is the events surrounding the invention of the aeroplane. The Wright brothers did not even graduate from high school, but with Zing4Life, they managed to successfully invent the aeroplane in their youth and without external funding. One expert physicist and pioneer in aviation by name Samuel Pierpont Langley, who was highly tipped to be the one to invent the aeroplane, was rather unsuccessful, though he received enormous funding for the task, $70,000 as far back as 1898. Again, formal education is relevant and indeed very important. However, formal education alone is not enough. You will agree with me that when growing up, it is ideal and relevant that someone should explain life to you comprehensively enough. But this is usually not the case. Hardly do you get someone qualified enough to tell you what's really important, where and when, and show you how to organize your life to be more efficient, make great impact, and enjoy true happiness. What you likely get is the classical one, especially from parents. Go to school, study hard, pass your exams well, and get a good, well-paying job. Good advice. However, obviously not enough, seeing that what the mainstream educational system teaches is able to harness only 22% of people's true effectiveness and greatness in life. That is why the maxim, life is lived forwards, but understood backwards, is largely true and therefore worrying. It is the main reason why life turns out to be difficult for a lot of people. Let me put it this way. Usually, people do not receive comprehensive or adequate guidance towards life. So when it comes to day-to-day living, most people operate from a state of unconscious incompetence. That is, they don't know how to live meaningfully, and yet they don't know that they don't know. Basically attaining 60 in the squares of life, not knowing that they could attain 30 with ease and enjoy a truly fulfilling life. Zing4Life has been constituted in response to adequately address these issues and be that missing but found lifeguard or life companion, teaching how to live meaningfully and make a meaningful living. It is about ensuring a truly balanced life of excellence in all aspects of life and at all levels. It is important to note that each of these 13 thematic areas comprises a wide range of principles, techniques, and strategies. So part 1, the creative paradigm, consists of its own wide range of principles, techniques, and strategies. Likewise, all the other parts, 2 to 13. And these 13 key functional resource determinants have been most logically structured or arranged. So there's a reason why the creative paradigm is part 1. There's a reason why Brainy Acts for Learners is part 4, and so on. If you take any of them out, or even change the order in which they appear, you may not be as effective at harnessing the 78% potential that the mainstream education ordinarily does not unearth. As we have established, a lot of schooling goes on, but not so much education. Indeed, the higher you go in the academics, the more you learn about so little. One of my role models puts it this way: school teaches you more and more about less and less. That is why we have, for instance, many people with good academic credentials, but who struggle financially and emotionally, and also never make any significant impact in life. Likewise, there are many very religious people who never make any significant impact in life, and they equally struggle financially and emotionally. It also explains why some very rich individuals have terrible relationships and some do not find meaning in life, to the extent that some of them end up committing suicide. So a little education is said to be dangerous. That is why Zing4Life has been most extensively researched and made comprehensive. Remember, it is based on the work of a wide range of researchers across the world and over several years, and each researcher spent an average of about 15 years on the work, some having spent as much as 25 years. Zing4Life is amazing. It is a catalyst, that is, an activator or an enabler. As earlier said, it goes beyond motivation or inspiration to liberation. It frees you to take the necessary action towards exceptionally great accomplishments and affords you to persist at it until it is fully accomplished. There are several metaphors we could use to explain this. Let's look at a few. You probably know that the eagle is the most powerful bird of prey in the world. The eagle's unique qualities and character traits include strong vision, boldness, and courage. The eagle is able to attack human beings. It is also able to attack fierce animals like the fox and the bear, and even animals much larger than itself. There are so many great things to say about the eagle. Can you then believe that a certain eagle got turned into a mere turkey and thus lived as a miserable bird instead of the glorious eagle life it was entitled to? I have heard many stories in life, but none makes me as sad as this one. Call it the Tegel story. You might have heard the story before. A certain hunter went out and chanced upon an eaglet, that is a young eagle. He took the eaglet home and added it to his turkeys. The eaglet grew among the turkeys that had naturally become his family and learned their ways. Thinking it was a turkey, it did everything like a turkey, scratching for termites, consistently walking and hardly flying, except occasional brief thrashing of its wings like turkeys do. Of course, that's what it saw among the turkeys. On few occasions, it saw an eagle in the sky and thought to itself, "What a majestic and a beautiful bird. I wish I could be like one. But let me not give it a second thought, for I'm a mere turkey and I can never be like this powerful bird." Obviously settling for less than he deserved and was indeed capable of achieving. Start there. That's mediocrity. Let's for that matter refer to it as turkey eagle or tegel. That sounds nice. The story is a reflection of what happens in real life. The eagle represents what you were created to be, an amazing being with extreme capabilities. The hunter represents parents or guardians, educational institutions, and the larger society. And the tegel represents what you are likely to turn out in life as a result of the actions and inactions of your family, school, the organization you belong to, and society as a whole. Regarding the eagle in you, your true potential, we have established that you were born to be great, that you can pursue and accomplish whatever great desires you set your heart on. Likewise, your people. We agreed that you have the inborn ability or potential to start or develop a theory, a company, a product or service that will significantly improve the lives of at least 1 billion people within 10 years. And your people too. However, just as the eagle became a tegel, it is highly likely that you underestimate your capabilities and that of your people and use very little of your true potential and that of your people. Likewise, your people themselves. We also agreed that it is highly likely that you may go through avoidable struggles and regrets in life, or that your people may go through avoidable struggles and regrets in life. That is what the tegel story represents, but there's a happy ending to it. One day, a very wise man, a seer, came to the hunter's house and had concern for the tegel, so he helped the tegel to fly. The tegel was comfortable with the usual 16 out of the squares of life, not knowing there were some 30 available for its taking, and the seer saved the situation. Though at the initial stages the tegel resisted flying, the comfort zone syndrome, the seer persisted and succeeded in getting the tegel to fly and assume its rightful status as an eagle, king of the skies. The analogy is, Zing4Life will do for you what the seer did for the tegel. Zing4Life will help you to take your rightful place in life beyond what you would ordinarily consider possible for yourself or your people. I promised to show you all the 30 squares. Let's see them now. You see, it is not difficult to make out the 30 squares after all. But what happens is that what you already know, often as a result of the mainstream education, immediately occupies your mind and prevents you from proceeding further. Well, it is more as a result of lack of zinc. And as I said, the exercise reflects what happens in all aspects of our lives. We generally settle for the usual 16 in the squares of life, even though we are capable of attaining 30. Oftentimes, we don't even think that life has more to offer us beyond the usual 16. Zing4Life develops in you that special intuition that leads you to discover 30 squares in life when others are comfortable with the usual 16. You most likely are aware that life is a race. You are at any moment of your life chasing one thing, whilst another thing is chasing you. The kind of race that exists between the lion and the gazelle or antelope. For instance, when it comes to pursuing wealth, you are a lion, and when it comes to paying bills, you are a gazelle. Whatever the case is, you need to run fast enough, and Zing4Life will help you to run fast indeed in every area or aspect of your life. Typically, when preparing bread, bakers make the size of the dough to be just about half the size of the container. But with that little baking powder earlier added to the dough increases about 4 times in size to almost twice the size of the container just overnight. Zing4Life can be likened to the little baking powder that is added to the dough when preparing bread. Zing4Life mixes with a person's mainstream education and causes his or her capabilities, can-do spirit, or can-do attitude to swell to the point where no challenging situation is able to hold him or her back. Zing4Life will do that for you and your people too. As earlier indicated, Zing4Life is a set of very insightful principles, techniques, and strategies in 13 thematic areas. It can thus be termed the all-round developer, as each part tackles one of your 13 key functional resource determinants. And they have the potency to develop or enhance in you those 13 key functional resource determinants and get you to be at your ultimate best. In that sense, Zing4Life is like the Swiss Army knife. You will find a handy and appropriate tool in it for every aspect of your life's needs. And as earlier indicated, you can get Zing4Life through seminars or workshops, CS club or group discussions, manuals or handbooks, supporting online resources, and other means of carrying information. And with Zing4Life, you can get to become exceptionally brilliant, exceptionally creative, exceptionally productive, exceptionally healthy, exceptionally free, and so much more. Get to make your current goals and future aspirations better and even exceptional, and also get to achieve your improved current goals and mega future aspirations easily and quickly. Do visit Zing4Life.com and make a request. If you need any help, you can call the hotline +233 26 326 2244.